All right, we are going to be doing well-ordered language, so grab your book, and we're going to be doing chapter 2, which is on page 27. I want you to grab a highlighter. So if you don't have a highlighter, pause the video and go grab one and then push play, okay? I'm going to be reading on page 27. Here's a riddle. What has two parts but is viewed as one? Give up? It is a pair of jeans or a pair of sunglasses. A pair of blue jeans made up of two pant legs is really one piece of clothing, and a pair of sunglasses made up of two lenses and a frame is really one object on your face. Each pant leg of a pair of jeans is equally important. If you cut one leg off and went outside on a frosty day, you'd know why. It's the same thing with the sunglasses. Pop out a lens and you will not see well because of the bright sun and will end up stumbling around in the snow wearing your one-legged pants. That's certainly not coordinated. Our riddle has a grammatical answer too. Can you guess it? It is a compound element. In English grammar, when two of the same elements are joined with a conjunction, more specifically a coordinating conjunction. And I want you to highlight this in your book. We have compound element when two of the same elements are joined with a conjunction. Also, an important word to remember is coordinating conjunction. The coordinating conjunction function, I'm going to go function as one element and are referred to as a compound element. As you may remember, conjunctions are one of the 8 parts of speech. Who remembers the 8 parts of speech?
8 parts of speech.
8 parts of speech.
Noun,
Pronoun, verb, adverb, conjunction, interjection,
preposition, adjective.
Very good. All right. So we have conjunctions are one of the 8 parts of speech, and they are connecting words. There are 7 coordinating conjunctions. Highlight that. 7 coordinating conjunctions. We have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Some of you may recognize these as fanboys if you've had older sisters or brothers in essentials. Yeah. They join words in sentences that are equally important. They coordinate ideas just as the waistband of a pair of jeans holds together the legs and frame of a pair of sunglasses holds together the lenses. Now, we have some important words. We said compound element comes from the Latin word componere. Com meaning together, ponere meaning to put. Remember our last chapter, I talked about infinitives. An infinitive is 2 plus a verb. So we have 2 plus a verb is an infinitive. Like to put is our verb in an infinitive. So to plus our verb, it's an infinitive. And in Latin, we have first conjugation nouns, second conjugation, and that's the infinitives will end in are, ere, and then ire as well. So we have componere means to put together, compound. Coordinating conjunction comes from 2 Latin words. Coordinate comes from coordinare, to set in order or arrange. Conjunction comes from our Latin word conjunctio, to join, and con means together. All right, we're going to go back down to page 27 in your book.
Oh.
Writers use compound elements for consciousness. That means they can communicate an idea with fewer words when they use compounds. For example, I'm going to put Rosie in the book here. It is more concise to write. Rudyard Kipling composed a short stories and novels than to write Rudyard Kipling composed short stories. Rudyard Kipling composed novels, right? You'd combine the two. Rudyard Kipling composed short stories and novels. So our conjunction is and. and it's joining two parts of speech together. The compound direct object, short stories and novels, condenses the idea into fewer words. Authors use compound elements for other reasons too, to add more detail in a description, to emphasize the importance of an idea, or to craft a style that sounds more like natural speech than formal writing. Rudyard Kipling wanted the tales in his Just So stories to sound spoken, as if they were being told by a loving, playful father for his best beloved child at bedtime. Kipling's style is full of compound elements. If you read one of the tales in his Just So stories, such as The Crab That Played with the Sea, you will find many coordinating conjunctions, especially and. Below, we've adapted or changed slightly sentences from this tale to demonstrate examples of various compound elements. Compound subject, compound verb, compound direct object, compound predicate nominative, compound predicate adjective. Now these should all be sounding familiar, right? These are parts of speech. Compound object of the preposition, compound adverb, and a compound adjective. Now we are going to read his story in the back of your book. It is on page 175. So turn to page 175 and we will read an excerpt from The Crab That Played with the Sea. Now, when we are reading it, I want you to underline any compounds you might see. So remember, we have, let me put it here.
The blue pen. Look at the blue pen.
Here are our 7 coordinating conjunctions. We have, and we can remember them by saying fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. They coordinate ideas and they join words in a sentence. So as I read along, you are going to find those coordinating conjunctions. Rosine, when you see one, I want you to underline it with your pen, okay?
Coordinating conjunction.
Then the sea began to run back, and the canoe was sucked out of the mouth of the Purrick River, past Selangor, past Malacca, past Singapore, out and out to the island of Bintang, as though it had been pulled by a string. Then the eldest magician stood up and shouted. Ho, beasts, birds, and fishes that I took between my hands at the very beginning and taught the play that you should play. Which one of you is playing with the sea? Then all the beasts, birds, and fishes said together, Eldest magician, we play the plays that you taught us to play, we and our children's children. But not one of us plays with the sea. Then the moon rose big and full over the water, and the eldest magician said to the hunchbacked old man who sits in the moon, spinning a fishing line, with which he hopes one day to catch the world, Ho, fisher of the moon, are you playing with the sea? No, said the fisherman. I am spinning a line with which I shall someday catch the world, but I do not play with the sea. And he went on spinning his line. So most of these, I think all of them are and. I noticed up here, he stood up and shouted. This is combining 2 verbs, okay? Up and, please don't, up and shouted. They're both verbs, okay? So it's a compound verb.
Birds and fishes, isn't that a compound noun?
Here we go. Then all the beasts, birds, and fishes. This is joining nouns. And specifically the subject. This is the subject of the sentence. So we have 3 subjects. Beasts, birds, fishes. And what did they do? They said. So this is combining 3 nouns together as the subject, all right? Now I am going to tell you This was written by Rudyard Kipling, 1865 to 1936. And in the back of your book, there should be an area where you can read about the author. And I believe they are in alphabetical order. Kipling, here we go. I'm going to read about him. He's on page 189. Okay? Even though he spent most of his life in England and America, Rudyard Kipling always considered his home to be India, where he was born in 1865. As a youth, he explored the busy markets of Bombay, learned the native language, and came to appreciate the people and culture of India. One collection of his stories from children, The Jungle Book, is set in India and includes stories about a boy named Mowgli, who is raised by wolves. Like many children's authors, Kipling first told his stories aloud to his own family. His daughter Josephine used to ask him to tell his tales just so, or exactly as he told them before. That's how his series of Just So stories got its title. Kipling published many poems, stories, essays, and books for adults, too. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1907, partly because he was so accomplished in narration. He died in 1936 in London. And that's about it. Now, Rosine was reading her book yesterday, and she goes, I can't get well-ordered language out of her head. Because as she was reading her book, she was noticing sentence patterns, prepositional phrases, and all that sort. When I read this short biography, when I came across and, I was like, oh, look. It's a coordinating compound, a coordinating conjunction, okay? Kipling published, who or what? Poems, stories, essays, and books. This is joining together the direct object of the sentence. Kipling is our subject. Published is our verb. Published who or what? He published many direct objects. Poems, stories, essays, and books. Oh, for adults too. That's a prepositional phrase. So don't be surprised if when you're reading your books, all this new stuff that you're learning pops out at you, okay? So we go back to page 28, and what we're going to do is look at the different ways that the conjunctions are used to make compound elements. So I'm just going to review them here. It can be a compound subject, like Bob and Jill went to the hills. There's a Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill, that would be a compound subject, went up the hill. Okay. Jack went up the hill. Jack went up and climbed the hill. So that would be a compound verb. He went up and climbed. Jack fetched a pail of water and milk. So and would join the direct object of water and milk. What did he fetch? Water and milk. Jack was a brother and son. Brother and son are predicate nominatives renaming Jack. Jack was nimble and quick. So the adjectives described Jack as nimble and quick. Object of the preposition. And then there's going to be adverbs, compound adverbs, and compound adjectives. So let's go back to our book and look at the different examples. The first one, we have compound subject. Let's read that first sentence. Beasts and birds first came forward. The furry beasts, the wild birds, and the colorful fishes played. Note the commas in the second example. This compound subject contains more than 2 nouns. Also note the different adjectives modifying each of the nouns. Together, the 3 nouns function as a single subject, right? This is all the subject. Beasts, the birds, and the fishes. That's all what the sentence is about. And what did they do? They played. All right. Now we have a compound verb. The eldest magician did what? Stood and shouted. Pau'ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air. So, it's going to be this is our subject. Rolled who are what? Eyes. And waved who are what? Legs. So this is actually, if you were to diagram this, you would have 2 separate verbs with 2 separate direct objects, okay? The second example includes 2 separate direct objects, one for each of the transitive verbs. While rolled and waved function together as a single verb, in the air is an adverbial prepositional phrase modifying only waved. Now on the next page, we have a compound direct object. The magician searched every stone and every bunch of weeds. The nouns stone and bunch, which are in the bold, function together as a single direct object, receiving the action of the transitive verb searched. Note that both nouns are modified by the adjective every, and bunch is also modified by an adjectival prepositional phrase of weeds. Next, we have compound predicate nominative. What is a predicate nominative?
A predicate nominative is something that renames the subject.
Very well. The 2 animal kings, right, the kings, were the enormous elephant and crocodile. So here, the king is being renamed as elephant and crocodile. The compound predicate nominative follows a linking verb and renames the subject. Compound predicate adjective, what's that do?
What?
A predicate adjective.
Describes the subject.
It says the compound predicate adjective modifies the subject and is joined to it by the linking verb was. So usually Pau'ama was mischievous and proud. Mischievous and proud is describing our subject, Pau'ama. Now we have the compound object of the preposition. The eldest magician breathed upon the sand and the rocks. You see it in bold? Our next sentence is the magician created the beautiful islands of Borneo, Celebes, and Java. The first 2 sentences include the preposition upon, followed by a compound object. This is adverbial prepositional phrase that modifies the verb breathed. The second sentence includes the preposition of followed by a compound object. This is an adjectival prepositional phrase that modifies the noun islands. Right? So what they're saying is of Borneo, Celebes, and Java. This is our whole prepositional phrase. And it said it is adjectival because it is modifying islands. Okay? An example of a compound adverb. In the end, the moon pulled the sea up and down. Where was it pulled?
Up and down.
Up and down. Both adverbs together modify the verb pull. Turn the page to page 30. We have the crab's claws were sharp and handy scissors. So those are 2 adjectives describing scissors, right? In all these sentences, the compound elements function just as that part of the sentence would function if it were single, like 2-legged jeans function as a single article of clothing. All of the compound elements, including a coordinating conjunction, finally, all the compound elements may also contain the modifiers or subordinate elements. Now, you may pause for punctuation. You can do that on your own or do it with your teacher at home, Okay, read through it. And then on page 31, we have terms to remember. If you don't know these and you need to review them, pause the video and you go back to the songs in the back of your book. We have principal elements, conjunction, direct object, be verbs, predicate nominative, and predicate adjective, and the 5 rules of commas. Also, I want you to review the prepositions because we are going to play a game in class on Friday. So let's just review them now. Aboard, about, above. Read them with me, class. Aboard, about, above. Across, after, against. Along, among, around. Before, behind. Below, beneath, beside. Between, beyond, at, by, down. During, except, for. From, inside, in, into. Near, of, off. On, out, outside. Over, past, since. Through, throughout. To, toward, under, up. Until, upon, with. Within, without, underneath. All right, be ready to play a game. Now Rosine has to.
I do?
Yes, record me.
Okay.
We're gonna walk through this sentence together and analyze it, okay? So on page 31, we have our sentence, beasts and birds first came forward. First, we're going to read the sentence aloud. Beasts and birds first came forward. Are there any conjunctions? Yes. There are conjunctions. So we're going to put angle brackets like this around our conjunctions, okay? The order of analysis is we're going to analyze phrases, clauses, principal elements, and then we look at our modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases?
No.
No prepositional phrases. So now we're going to look at our principal elements, okay? Let's read our sentence again. Beasts and birds first came forward. This is a sentence. What kind of sentence is it, class?
Declarative.
Declarative, okay, because it is making a statement. This sentence is about beasts
and birds.
Okay, it's a compound subject.
Don't we put a C on top of the and?
Just wait. Maybe if you were in CC you would, but we're just going like this. If it makes you feel better to put C above conjunction, you may, but this tells us also it is a conjunction, okay? This sentence is about beasts and birds, so beasts and birds are the subjects because they are what the sentence is about. So and is a conjunction in the compound subject. So we're gonna put an S above our subjects, okay? This sentence tells us that beasts and birds, stop please. There's no way you can do it neat while holding a camera. Can you watch this please? Sorry, I had to set my daughter straight. This sentence tells us that beasts and birds came. So came is the predicate. We're gonna underline it twice, right? It is the predicate verb because it shows action. We are going to put a P above it because it is an action verb. There is no linking verb, right? What are our linking verbs? Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. Is there a linking verb? No. Can you hold this steady, please? Otherwise, I can't. You can't be my camera lady. There is no linking verb because predicate verbs do not need a linking verb. Since came shows action, we're going to place a letter V next to our predicate verb, okay? Forward. So when we analyze, remember we start at the right and we go from right to
Left.
Left, all right? So start with forward. Forward tells us where beasts and birds came, right? And it is an adverb, right? Now we have first. First tells us when beasts and birds came. So first is also an adverbial element because it modifies a verb. It is an adverb. Since first modifies came, we're going to draw our line over to came like this.
Can I diagram it?
And Rosine would like to diagram it. She thinks she knows how to.
I know how to.
We are on page 33. Oh, what? Can you tell us what you're doing though?
Yeah. Diagramming.
But tell us the principal elements. What's going on?
So
you made a horizontal line first.
Mm-hmm. And then this is how you do compound. You do a dotted line.
Can I stop you and read it? I'm going to read this and you follow my instructions, okay? When you diagram a sentence with a compound subject, you draw what we call a spaceship. Bum, bum, bum. Here's our spaceship. All right? That is horizontal parallel lines, one for each noun of the compound subject with a dotted line, joining them with a coordinating conjunction written on the dotted line. This sentence will have a left spaceship because a subject is always drawn on the left side. So here's her left side, her subject.
Beasts and birds.
There you go. Came. And we have two adverbs. All right. Now we're going to do the next one, class, and I want you to get a piece of paper. So if you need to get a piece of paper, pause the video and start. I'm just going to keep going. Our next sentence is Pau ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air. Got it all in there.
Ooh, I think I know what's happening here.
Well, our first thing we need to do is read our sentence. Read our sentence, Rosine.
Pau ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air.
Okay, now our order to analyze is we need to ask, is there a phrase?
Yes.
Is there a clause?
No.
Are there any phrases?
Yeah.
It says, are there any conjunctions? And then we go through if there's any prepositional phrases, okay? So first, are there any conjunctions? Yes, is there any conjunctions? Stick to the order.
And.
So remember, we're going to draw like this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there any prepositional phrases?
In the air.
In the air. Now, in the air is a prepositional phrase. In is a preposition. So remember, you're going to put a P under in. The object of the preposition. What's the definition of an object of a preposition?
It's a noun or pronoun after the preposition.
A noun or a pronoun after the preposition. Air is our noun, and it's after the preposition. The is...
It's an article.
An article, so therefore it's an adjective, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now, air is the object of the preposition.
I have a question.
1 second. I'm going to go next. So now, we are going to read the sentence again. Pau ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air. We took care of our phrases. Now we're going to look at, remember, our order is phrases, clauses, and principal elements. There are no clauses. We're not doing those yet. So we're going to look at our principal elements, which is
Subject and predicate.
subject and predicate, right? And then our modifiers are adjectives and adverbs, okay? So,
I think I know what's going on here. Is there such thing as like a compound direct object? Because legs and eyes.
well, let's see. Rosine thinks she sees something. Pau ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about Pau ama. So Pau ama is the subject. It is what the sentence is about. So we underlined it once and we put an S over top. This sentence tells us that Pau ama rolled. Can you do it in a contrasting color? And waved, right? Tells us something that Pau ama. So we're going to double underline the predicate verb and place a capital P over each one. Put a P over rolled and put a P over waved. And is the conjunction in the compound verb. Do you see that? All right. There are predicate verbs because they show action. So we're going to, there is no linking verb because predicate verbs do not need linking verbs. Since rolled and waved both show action, place a capital letter V to the right of the P above each one. Eyes tells us what Pau ama rolled, right? Pau ama rolled who or what? Eyes is a direct object.
Dio.
Pau ama waved what? Legs.
I was right.
So that is an object element because it completes the meaning of the action verb. It is a direct object because it tells us what Pau ama waved, all right? So we write D-O in lowercase letters beneath both of the direct objects. 2, now we're going to analyze our modifiers, right? From right to left. 2 modifies legs. It tells us what, Rosine?
It tells us how many legs.
How many legs. It answers how many is an adjective. Why don't you turn it so you can write it nice? When you're doing this, students, please make sure it's neat. So when you go to diagram, you can tell what you've done, okay? Next is 2. This is also an adjectival element because it modifies a noun. It is an adjective. It is telling us how many eyes, right? Now, in the air is our prepositional phrase. In the air, we are going to draw a line down from our preposition. And this is adverbial or adjectival element?
Adverbial.
Adverbial. Why is it adverbial?
Because it's showing where he waved.
Where? Where did he wave? In the air. So you are going to write adverb up here, but also put prep underneath the line so you know it's a prepositional phrase. Okay, so here, if you look at page 35, you are going to make your line for the subject. But as you notice, it is our verbs that are compound, and they each have their own direct objects. Okay, so Rosine is going to draw our rocket ship on the far right. It is a right spaceship. The individual verbs are written on 2 different horizontal lines with the conjunction written on the dotted line. There's our conjunction and. It has to be on this side of the line.
Oh, I said oh. Yeah. And eyes.
Why don't you start over here with the subject?
Wait.
Start over here with the subject.
3 is being very loud.
And then we have our verb, our compound verb. Wait, pau ama. So look up here. This is going to be our verb on this side.
Oh, wow.
Rolled. And then our line to divide. Who or what? Eyes.
I see.
How many eyes? 2.
Okay.
Down here, rolled and waved. And then we have a direct object. So then you're gonna put legs there. How many legs? 2. And then here we have our adverbial prepositional phrase. In our object of the preposition, air, and the.
There. Pau ama rolled 2 eyes and waved 2 legs in the air.
Good job. All right. Now, there is on page 36 and 37, and 38 some more sentences. I am going to do a separate video for that one, okay? All right, bye.